Ow. This is less comfortable than I thought it would be. So anyway, I'm not sure if it's just my current room situation. I'm moving out. This isn't my actual room, technically, or if it's something else. But I've been feeling nostalgic recently. Even though the oldest design in this video is like almost 2 years old, so I'm not really sure if that counts as nostalgia. But I wanted to redesign 3 of my Fakemon today. Just to, I guess, to kind of see how I've improved art-wise in the past few years, and they kind of progressively get older as you go down the timeline. So, if you watched my old Pokemon series, the Ira region, then you'll know the first one. If you are if you are a more OG viewer, then you'll recognize the second design, and if, you just straight up won't recognize the third design. But you may kind of understand where it comes from if you for some reason watched some of my really old content back when, I had a fucking laptop and I would just like pull up random Pokemon I posted on my Twitter and yap about them. So let's get posted on September 28th, 2024, we have Megalock. I'm gonna go with Megalock. The Fighting Steel fossil Pokemon of the Ira region. It's a can opener Megalosaurus, because the other fossil Pokemon was based on the Skeletorsaur, and basically the Skeletosaurs are well known for their very good preservation. So my idea is, what if it got pickled? So it went into the swamp and it got pickled. So now, and then it evolves into like a can of pickles, which is why it has 2 heads. And Megalock is the natural predator to the can of pickles, which is the can opener. It's a jar of pickles, isn't it? Oh my god, it took me... Actually, I think I mentioned that. Whatever, doesn't matter, not my problem. Anyway, I'm kind of conflicted on this design. The original design, I mean. I think it has a funny inspiration, and it has the ability to be really cool, but it's not. So after redesigning the first form, just for a bit of funsies, just to update it a little bit, I took a look at Big Megalock, and basically what I wanted to change was its pose, because it looks a bit unstable in this pose, and its arms look ridiculous, and it doesn't look intimidating whatsoever. It's a bit chunkier than the Megalosaurus actually was, because from what I understand, the Megalosaurus was actually fairly lean, so we want to make it leaner. We want to make its arms a bit bigger, because this isn't a T-Rex, it's a Megalosaurus. I want to make the can opening part look more like an actual part of its body, rather than just a hole in its neck, and just generally update it to go with what my current, Fakemon style is. So, that's what I did. Here's the new Megalock. I changed its pose so it looks a lot more intimidating and firm. I made it, I'm not sure if it's smiling. I can't tell if it's smiling. I don't think it really matters if it's smiling, to be honest. It looks intimidating regardless. Made its hands bigger and look more like fists, because they're supposed to look like fists with like bandages on them. I moved the bandages on its... Well, bandages, it's actually exposed muscle, but whatever. I moved that up to its legs instead of just its feet. So I guess it just looks, better. I don't know. And of course, made the fork tail a bit bigger. So there's that. And just, as I said, generally updated it to my general Fakemon style. So here's Megalock. Alright, so like I said, even if you're like an old viewer of mine, you may not recognize this design, but it is still recognizable if you kind of looked at my content when I was like significantly smaller. I know I'm not exactly big right now, but this was like before, the Ira region blew up and then a bunch of people started coming to my channel. So
Fun fact, I was originally going to go for a Tasmania-inspired Pokemon region, and I recently looked, and because I'm in the whole mindset of redesigning old Pokemon, I went back to look at those designs, and I realized that they are very clunky, and I do think I have improved significantly, even in like a year, which is very comforting because I'm going into art college. But enough yapping. Let's get to the redesign, shall we?
Released to the channel on April 20th, 2024, what was supposed to become a series, but no one cared, so I didn't bother.
Probably didn't help that I had no plans for how the region would turn out, and also, like, no idea for what future Pokemon designs would look like, but, whatever.
We have Tasmonster, the final evolution of the grass-type starters for a Tasmania region I was making. Now, I don't think this is necessarily a terrible design. It just needs, like, some updating. And I know this is going to sound ridiculous from a design I made, like, just over a year ago, but I'd like to think I'm significantly better at doing Fakemon now. So, let's see how I do with that. It doesn't look like it's standing on anything, is my problem. Also, the shadows look weird, but that's not really, I can just fix it, I don't know. So I want to change its pose. Its arms look too stubby and goofy, so we'll change that, and we'll make the berries the berries and the chest part a larger part of its design. Now, the way I did this, here we go, is I changed its pose, because not only do I want it to look more like a, raised by wolves kind of vibe, look more wild, but I also seem to have ran into the problem where, dark type starter looks fighting type because it fights just evilly, aka the Incineroar effect, and I wanted to change that, so now it looks a lot more like wild and crazed, I guess, instead of just evil fighting. I made the berries much larger part of its design by making them much larger and much more emphasized. I put changed its horns, so instead of they're just these tiny little nubs growing out of the berries, they're these large things that have the berries on them, because I also wanted the horns to be a bit bigger part of the design, because they're kind of just there now. And I changed the Tasmanian devil little chest symbol thing to look a bit more thorny, like its tail, and made it bigger. Also, I made the tail a lot longer, so it's a lot more emphasized, and the thorns a lot bigger, and just generally updated the design. Overall, I'm really happy with this redesign, and if you want me to redesign some of the other Pokemon from this region, then like the video, let me know, and I'll go do that, I guess.
I'm not sure if this is the same camera angle necessarily, but this is about the spot where my laptop camera would sit. Ages and ages and ages and ages and ages ago, when I first started this channel, I had this shitty little laptop, which I still have. Why do I still have that? I mean, it's out of power and it basically doesn't work, but I still have it. I used to record videos just using the webcam of that, and I would just go on to, and I would do some videos where I'd just go onto my Twitter, which I don't have anymore because fuck that, and I would just go onto Twitter and I'd just yap about a Fakemon that I posted on there. This is not one of them. However, there was one, was it? I don't entirely remember the video, but there was a video where I talked about a Dialga axolotl I'd made, which I'm still fairly proud of, to be fair. But I'm not sure if I specifically spoke about this in the video, but I actually made all three of the creation trio. I made an axolotl Dialga, I made a bug Giratina, which, if you want to see those two, then let me know and I'll do something like this again. I've got plenty of Fakemon designs to choose from. And I also made a Frog Palkia, which may be one of the most, conflicting Pokemon designs I've ever made, because I honestly can't for the life of me tell whether I like it or not. But, I'll just let the guy up there talk about it. Not up there, more like over there, because That's where I record my videos now.
Released to the channel on never, but potentially created within the month of November in 2023, we have Frogkia, the counterpart to another Pokemon that I did post on this channel on November 3rd, 2023, which was Diaxolotl. I made a whole trio of these guys actually, but I'm not showing you the Giratina thing because if you want to see that, you know, I'll have to make another episode of the series. Oh, sorry, it's just the rules. But yeah, this design, I'm going to be honest, needs a full rehash. I thought I was well clever taking this massive notebook and splitting it into 4 different sections because my other notebooks were significantly smaller, so I wanted to, like, you know, fit more drawing. I wanted to, like, I guess, why the fuck did I do this? Anyway, due to this, it's significantly, like, scrunched in, which I don't want, so I'm going to change it up a bit. It also doesn't really fucking look like Palkia, because I didn't have the balls to give it a long face, so we give it a long face, to mimic Palkia's long neck. It also needs just cleanup, because there's just lines and random dashes. I see what I was going for, but it just makes the Pokemon look cluttered, which doesn't help the fact that I also just randomly disconnected sections of its body. Yeah, I do like the Pearl Eyes though, and like using the spikes to mimic the details of Palkia. One problem though, I didn't actually use the spikes to mimic any of Palkia's features! Well, I did it like to mimic one of Palkia's features, but then I never used them again! So I'm gonna use the spikes properly this time, and not give a full-grown frog a fucking tail. My wall is connected directly to my neighbours. They most likely heard that and think I'm insane, but I don't really interact with them, and they once flew a drone over our garden. So, you know what, fair game, fuck you guys. Anyway, basically just, here you go. Cleaned up the design, changed the bone spikes on it, added bone spikes to its feet to be like the spikes Palkia has on its feet, made it just generally more Palkia shaped and less scrunched up. Kept the Pearl Eye, because I do quite like the Pearl Eye, and, you know, used the spikes to mimic Palkia's features. Oh, also this is based on the hairy frog, which is really cool because it breaks its bones to create claws for itself. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, there you go. If I want to put in an outro, I'll put it in here. If not, bye-bye.